Johns, who has been absolutely dominant here over the last few days. Chance to take a deep breath. How do you feel so far here?
Pretty good. I love the climate here in Utah. It's nice and cool, pretty dry, so it's great for pickleball.
Absolutely is. Ben Johns teaming with Dekel Bar. I know a lot of talk with that combination, and you have got to feel so good about the way it has resulted up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Really gelling pretty well. Looks like we're about to start here.
Kovalova and Jardim will serve. Tereshenko and Smith on the other side. So, Ben, when you look at these two teams matching up, what do you really look forward to in a match like this?
Yeah, you know, at first you really want to look at who's getting played a lot. Generally with a team like Simone and Lucy, you're going to see Lucy covering a smaller amount of the court on the deuce court, the right side, and Simone taking those middle balls. And what you can notice here, especially with Lucy, is because she's covering that smaller area of the court, it allows her to shift to her right a little bit and look for only backhands. It makes a really big difference in hand speed when you can choose to only hit backhands rather than forehands. So look for her to shift over to her right and counter with that backhand. It's pretty tough to get back.
0-0-2.
Just short, the crowd reacts here in St. George. Of course, loving Callie Smith, the hometown girl.
I love the Utah crowd here. They're very enthusiastic about their pickleball.
0-0-1.
They've been great.
That's a great ball by Simone. And what you can really see there is Callie is shifting towards the middle, looking for that backhand, because the middle is the most likely spot to go. And Simone, realizing that, is going behind her. It's a tough shot, but Callie's not looking for it there.
Ben, I'm still relatively new to this sport, but what I've observed since the first time I saw Simone play a couple years ago down in Naples, when things get tough, when points get really, really important, there is nobody better locking in, huh?
Correct, yeah. Best under pressure, very experienced. Great mental game. Great play by Simone, angling it off the court. And you can see how well Kelly and Irina backed up and were blocking as they were going back as that ball went higher. But Simone just did a great job of getting it off the court, so they weren't able to get a paddle line.
Yes, ma'am. 2-0-2.
Early 2-0 lead for Jardim and Kovalova.
Side out.
Comes a little short. Side out coming up. Callie Smith and Tereshenko.
0-2-1.
How they didn't creep in before they needed to. They only went into the line once they had a good drop. It was advisable to go in on.
Ben, tell us what it is like. Obviously, these are long days, and not just physically strong, you got to be so mentally strong to get to this point.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot more matches than other sports generally. And, you know, if you lose once, it's not that you can't come back. It's going to make it a lot tougher. So if you have a little mental lapse, if you go in a hole for a while, then that can be it. Pickleball matches are over quickly, so you got to be pretty resilient.
First lead for Tereshenko and Smith.
Second serve. 3-2-2.
So you can see right there, Irina's trying to drive and close. That's kind of one of the different methodologies of driving. You can drive and then drop the next one, or you can try to drive and close and be aggressive with the next one. I like the decision there, it's probably right, but you can't always execute. But really good drive and a good close.
See Tereshenko there, rip off the hoodie. Wants to get a little bit lighter here in this cold temperature, and the sun is going down. It's going to get colder, of course, throughout the night.
Yep, of course,
Point.
that makes the ball travel a little faster. Drives are a little better.
3-3-1.
See, now that's a great job by Irina there. She noticed that Lucy was
Second
trying
serve.
to shift and got it all the way over to the forehand side, and that's the counter that Lucy's going to miss more often there. If you let it go to her body, she's going to shift it enough to counter
3-3-2.
solidly with the backhand.
Side
See so
out.
many game plans. Ben, do you go in with a game plan
You know,
and,
you don't really
just
want-
adjust, or
Right, you don't really want to lock
3-3-1.
yourself in too much, so I usually give it to a couple like bullet points, 2 or 3, and then adapt from there.
Second serve. Three, 3-2. Side out.
One of the most underrated parts of this game, I think, is letting the ball go. It can be really tough. It's definitely an underrated skill, and the whole kind of thing is shoulder high, let it fly. Doesn't always apply, but it's a good rule to think about. Even if you let maybe 3, 4 balls go, and even if one goes in, you got to make your opponents think about it, right? If you play everything, they're going to tend to attack a lot of balls, and you're going to get in worse and worse positions just by playing all those and giving them the mental mindset that they can
3-3-1.
attack anything.
tied at 3?
Second serve.
Crowd packed into championship
3-3-2.
court here. Great atmosphere in St. George for this women's doubles pro gold match. Simone Gallo-Smith.
That's a fantastic play. What I really love about Simone's drop is it has a ton of topspin on it, so if that ball bounces, it's going to kick up and make it more difficult for your opponents to time. So it causes a lot of pop-ups. That's why she got that initial attack.
4-3-2.
Put her team in a good position.
Side out.
How much do you rely on the crowd to pump life into you, Ben?
You know, I don't really
3-4-1.
rely on them or think about them that much, but on a big point, when they roar, you know, it can really give you a burst of adrenaline.
Second serve.
You know, what I would say here about the ladies, Callie and Irina, might want to be looking to drive the 3rd and drop the 5th right now. Just because the
3-4-2.
ball's hardening up a little bit with it getting colder, and that's usually a reliable play when the ball gets colder and harder. And
Side
right there,
out.
you know, Simone's one of the best in the game, not just across court dinking with the backhand, but reaching in and volley dinking, which really takes away your opponent's time. And that's why you can see Irina got pushed
4-3-1.
back and caused the error just because of taking away that time.
Point.
No, great play. Love it. Just can't always execute. Nobody's perfect, right?
Yep.
5-3-1.
Now 5-3-1. Emily Smith in position here.
I love the play from
Point.
Simone there, recognizing that drop in the kitchen release was just a little bit
Timeout
high,
on the right.
and she was able
You'll be
to
serving
take a step back and then block that
1
follow-up
minute.
one. So you got to recognize the height of the ball that your team is hitting.
So now Jardim and Kovalova, they've opened up a 6-3 lead. Time for us to step aside. This message from Jigsaw Health, and we'll be right back here to St. George.
My name is Simone Jardim. The biggest thing that I have struggled with is recovery. Going from one day of competition and then having to come back again and compete at the same level that I competed the day before. A lot of things that are available have really high content of sugar. I want something that has some taste that is not gonna be bad for me. I started taking the Jigsaw Electrolyte Supreme and Pickleball cocktail for hydration and recovery. It has been a game changer.
Welcome back to St. George, Utah. Drew Felios sitting next to Ben Johns, #1 rated men's player in the world of pickleball. And we're watching best duel on the women's side. Jardim and Kovalova. Tereshenko and Smith. 3 points down here, game number 1.
That's just fantastic.
Wow.
You know, one of the best things about Simone is the directions she hits the ball. It's very hard to read. Her paddle position looks so similar between when she goes middle, when she goes to your body, and when she goes down the line. It's all very similar, and that's what really disguises where she's going.
You know, certain duels too that just absolutely click. And Simone, as good as she is, when she found Lucy, what a find that was.
Yeah, you can really see it in how who takes what balls and the communication. It's just they gel extremely well, as do their games.
Point.
One of my favorite things about them is how well they cover their parts of the court. I'd say it's usually about a 60-40. You'll notice Simone usually takes that middle ball and maybe one step over. And I think that's optimal for them. It really works pretty well. Great lead by Lucy. That's, once again, underrated skill, especially with her. She just kind of fades back and turns the shoulder. Makes herself skinny real quick. Makes it easier to let that ball go.
Just long.
Side out.
That's a tip for the viewers at home. If you feel like you're getting beat by bangers a lot, it's probably because you're not letting the ball go. You got to be letting the ball go.
Is there any particular player, then type of player, that maybe gives you more fits than another player?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it depends on how you play. It depends on how they play. It's a lot of factors for sure. That's a good play. Like if I had to choose one for myself, somebody that plays non-traditional a little bit, like maybe a non-tennis player, but is also very aggressive and good at it, that would be the one that is going to give me the most trouble. But that'll definitely vary from player to player.
9-3-1.
No names for us, huh?
Second serve.
Classic
9-3-2.
mixed doubles match we saw a couple weeks ago in Tampa with you and Simone taking on Matt Wright, Lucy Kovalova. That was so intense.
As you can see in this match, she's steady as a rock. It's hard to make her miss. We have it again. What a champion of midcourt there. You can see the midcourt blocks to get into the line. So instrumental, and she's really the best in the game at that, in my opinion.
Side out. 3-9-1.
Callie Smith now serving, 3-9-1.
That play from them, the drive on the third and the drop on the fifth allows them to get in more often rather than this drive and close that arena's trying to hit. It's a little lower probability, so I would be looking at third shot drive, fifth shot drop in this situation. Simone has won pretty much every cross-court backhand dinking battle here, and I think that's for a couple of reasons. One, she's very good at it. She's the best in the game at that, especially on the ladies' side. And but I think Irina could do a better job of coming into the line and looking for some more attackable balls. She's just backing up a lot, which puts her in some awkward situations.
Ben, do you see as this game continues to evolve, the role of a coach maybe increasing in the sport of pickleball, because so many adjustments obviously can be made?
Yes, for sure. I could definitely see that being more of a factor. It definitely has helped a lot of teams. I know personally that just the players don't always see what a viewer might see. So, yes, absolutely.
9-4-1.
Emmy McGregor, Amy Yarbrough, and Tao Hongban. Hongban and Yarbrough, McGregor and Witkin.
That's too good. Wow. And really what disguises that so well is in that two-handed backhand, the left hand comes on, and the left hand actually does a lot of the work, and it kind of rolls over at the end. That extra support makes
Timeout
the
on the
shot
right. We'll be
happen
serving
more
10-4-1,
quickly, and it's harder to
1
read
minute.
because you can just do so much more with it at the last second.
10-4, timeout on the court. Jardim and Kovalova about to close out game number 1 here on Championship Court. Here with Ben Johns, #1 ranked men's player in the world. We'll step aside, come back here to the Red Rock Open in just a moment.
Lucia Kovalova. Pickleball cocktail.
And cut.
Patrick, did you get all the shots you need? Because I would really like to go play pickleball.
Lucy, I'm making art here. Did Michelangelo take a break from the Sistine Chapel to go play soccer?
Places, everyone.
If she's got to go, I can take her spot.
(10-4), Jardim and Kovalova beating Tereshenko and Smith. And Simone now serving for the game. Oh.
Hometown crowd, hometown net. Great swing by Lucy. Good point by Irene and Callie there.
Side out.
You know, that's what you often see in pickleball is timeouts do a lot. Don't underrate them. Definitely something that a lot of players could be better at, including myself. Timeouts can really help shift the momentum.
What was it called? Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry.
5-10 here.
5-10-1.
And first serve, Tereshenko still. If they can go on a run here, close the gap a little bit.
There's that hometown net again.
Yeah, Ben, we have been entertained. We saw during the break those Jigsaw Health commercials. You have such a key role in
16-1.
those. How much fun were those to shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get that in a second after this point.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, what a shot. Yeah, to answer your question, a lot of fun. The Jigsaw team is a lot of cool people, very creative. So the filming itself is just a lot of laughs, and they turn out pretty well, I think. And yeah, it's funny all around.
Yes, she is.
How many takes
Yes,
some of
she
those take? A couple?
The most I've seen is 18. Such great defense from ladies over here, Callie and
Side
Irina.
out.
Just overshot that one a little bit. You know, I would recommend generally when you have a ball that high, it may seem obvious, but go middle.
10-6-1.
It's harder to miss to the net and miss wide. That's nice.
See if they can fight off another here, get a side out.
Then it could get a little tight.
10-6-2.
You see this cross-court backhand battle once again.
Oh.
And once again, Simone comes out on top.
Game.
It's
11-6.
a bad pattern, I think, for Irina and Callie to go there.
Just too good.
It's a great first game. Love to see it.
All right,
So
let's give it up for
11-6.
Simone and Lucy
Jardim,
for game
Kovalova.
one.
We'll take a look at that final point one more time to end game number 1. Simone up to the task at the top of her game, like she always is.
Cover and play the all-natural way. Let's get loud.
Game 1 in the books here from St. George, Utah, the Red Rock Open. And we'll have more of this women's doubles pro championship gold medal match when we come back.
One thing I really noticed before I came on to Gearbox, other paddles change over time. They start to slowly deteriorate, and at about that 3 or 4 month mark, just kind of felt dead. And then I would switch to a new paddle, and it was kind of too fast, because then it had to degrade to get into that sweet spot again. I've been using the GX5 for just about a year now. Same paddle that I picked up the first time I hit it. Haven't switched paddles, and it feels exactly the same a year later, and that's huge.
Hey, Matt. I got you a new paddle.
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you sign it?
Why do you need my signature?
For...
Now, if that's what you want, Patrick, I'm gonna need you to sign a few documents first. This is an NDA. Sign down here, initial and date.
Should I ask my lawyer about this?
I can't advise you on that.
Should I ask a doctor?
I suppose it couldn't hurt.
It does hurt a little bit.
Pickleball courts at Little Valley here in St. George, Utah. Perfect site for the Red Rock Open. First PPA Tour event ever in the state of Utah. We've weathered the snow over the last few days, and the staff here has done a tremendous job. Players doing great as well. Ben Johns is with me. We're watching the Women's Pro Doubles Championship. Jardim and Kovalova on top, 1-0.
Okay.
So I'd expect to see Irina and Kelly
time
come out a
in,
little hotter
0-0-2.
here, maybe try to attack a few more balls from the kitchen line. You know, that may seem like an unforced error, and a little bit it certainly is, but something that you guys probably don't see is Irina is actually hitting that drop with a good amount of topspin, which makes it difficult for Simone to hit her own topspin on the next ball, which causes the error sometimes. That's just so good. Those are my favorite points, the fast hand stuff. And Kelly just did such a good job of getting all those balls back. You make your opponent play a lot of balls, and sometimes they make an error. This time Simone didn't, but you got to make your opponent play balls. Once again, familiar pattern here. Simone and Irina cross-court backhands.
Hitter, thank you.
And I think that's the first cross-court battle that Irina and Kelly have ended up winning, so maybe that'll change the tide.
Side out.
The process of selecting a partner. Can it be complicated?
1-0-1.
It can for some people. You know, we commit pretty far in advance, and we commit for a lot of tournaments generally. For the people that kind of have to switch partners more, I think it's definitely more difficult. But once you have a consistent partner that you're both comfortable with each other, and you commit for a lot of tournaments, it just gets easier and easier.
1-0-2.
That right there, I think, is just not really the right decision. Whenever you're attacking from mid-court, low to high, even if the opponent doesn't let it go and plays it, it's still coming back down at you. So it's very rare that you want to be attacking a ball from mid-court, especially down to up. See how when Simone's hitting those cross court, she's driving Irina so far across that she's not allowing her to come all the way back to the middle. But then Callie has to cover her line, so that's Simone's easiest shot, which opens up the middle. And Simone recognizing that is taking advantage.
Point.
And that's just a bad spot. You really can't go into Lucy's backhand right there. That's her absolutely favorite counter shot. So if you're going to attack her, you need to get it over to her forehand or make her reach more in the middle. Definitely not in that spot.
Just a little bit wide from Lucy Kovalova. We're watching the Women's Doubles Pro Gold medal match here on Championship Court. Drew Felios, Ben Johns, before he goes out one more time with Dekel Bar. An opportunity to have you here in the booth. Thank you so much for stopping by. And this has been just a great chance to get your insight on the game, and just incredible, Ben. The angles that you're talking about, the way you're thinking about it, as Callie Smith puts one away there. This game of pickleball is so complex, isn't it?
It's very dynamic. You know, there's a lot to it. Maybe more than meets the eye. And, you know, with these ladies, it's a lot of great points and a lot of room for analysis. So, I love watching matches like this. Great play by Irina. You can see after she's pulling the trigger on that forehand, she's actually already setting up on her backhand. She knows that was the most likely place for it to go, because someone was likely going to be late on it, and same thing with Lucy, and that's how she was able to finish, by only getting backhand after attacking that initial forehand.
Point.
Starting to win now some of those firefights.
3-2-1.
I think they've found their groove a little bit in terms of what they're attacking and how they're attacking.
Second serve.
I really like Simone's play that two-handed backhand through the middle, because she's just forcing Callie to cover her line pretty hard whenever it's that far wide, and she's forcing Irina to cover the middle, and that can be a tough spot, especially when she's hitting it as well as she is. Great cover from Lucy there in the middle of the court. What I love from Callie here is that forehand roll out of the air, puts a lot of topspin on the ball, and that's what makes it difficult to time and then reset. So you're actually looking for topspin a lot of the time just as much as speed. See what we're talking about on that last point. Same thing here. That's great scrapping from both the ladies there.
Ben, when you are backed up against that baseline like Smith and Tereshenko were, what are you trying to do in that situation?
You're trying to climb a gradual ladder. You don't need to hit a perfect drop. You're trying to get a slightly better drop each time in order to work your way in there. It took them more than you see in almost any point. But it's very important to choose the ball you're hitting based on what you get. The worse foot position you're in, the more conservative of a shot you want to go for.
Oh, here comes Callie.
What a point. Wow. Oh, wow. So good. That's fantastic. I expect to see a timeout here from Lucy and Simone. Don't want them getting adrenaline and energy. Maybe not. They look ready for the next point.
Point.
That was an absolute gem right there.
What a point. Highlight of the match.
Oh, there's that drop again.
Excellent, excellent. See, when you back up somebody that much, it's not about just how far they are back, but it's also about where their momentum is. If they're backing up as they're hitting, it's really going to be difficult to transfer back to the balls of your feet and get to that drop. So I think Simone recognized Kelly was moving backwards as she was hitting the previous shot. blocks. It's just so difficult to do.
Oh.
Really finding their groove here. Fantastic points now. So good for both Lucy and Simone. What I love from them is those resets. They're all so difficult, and they do it so many times in a row. And I like the supporting hand they use, the two-handed backhands. That really helps in terms of blocking and resetting, just because of that extra stability behind the paddle with the left hand.
Hope you're enjoying it right now on Championship Court. Being here in person is just incredible right now. This crowd just fixated on this match, and they are being entertained.
4-6-1.
Tereshenko and Smith still a 2-point lead here, game 2.
So what I like here from Callie is that she's realizing where Simone's usually attacking her, which has been working for most of the match, and she's now taking a step or two back and looking to counter with her forehand as Simone keeps rolling it over that side, which is a tough shot, and that's why Callie wasn't looking for it earlier in the match, but is adapting now.
This game is so much about adjustments, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's what I call the meta. You have one strategy, and then it'll change gradually, and then your opponents will change the new one you have, and so on it goes.
6-4-1.
Oh. Somehow kept it alive. Did that touch both Smith and Tereshenko?
I believe it hit both paddles, but that is up to the referees.
Point.
Sure.
I'd have to take one more look.
Yeah, I want to see the replay.
Yeah.
Came off a little funky, but maybe they just mishit it.
Timeout on the right. 7-4-1.
Doesn't look like we saw it there. It's too late to the point. You know, that's interesting there. And, you know, you get calls like this, and in a lot of matches, there's some debate. Sometimes it's whether it hit somebody, maybe it hit two paddles, whatever the call is. It's can be tight, hard to call, both for the players and the referees.
Oh, that's going to be just out of our screen, I believe. Ooh.
Yeah, that was it right there, but I don't think we could see it on screen. I can't tell. It definitely went from Callie forward, and then it may or may not have hit Irina. It's just too hard to tell. I didn't see a change in the path of the ball on the screen, but I thought I did in person. But I feel like Irina would have felt that, so that's a better angle. Oh, yeah, I can see it there. I don't think it hit. I think it was clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then how much do you think an upset would carry over here if Tereshenko and Smith were to somehow pull this out in front of this crowd?
7-4-1.
It would kind of shake up the scene a little bit, huh?
For sure. You know, they got 3 games to go as the losers bracket coming up from the losers bracket. But yeah, if they were to achieve that, that would be, I believe, the first time Lucy and Simone would have lost together. So really can't emphasize enough how different that would be. What a change.
They have been that dominant.
Side out. Four, 7-1.
It's a tough play. I like that pulling the trigger from Irina. You know, when you get kind of a higher ball and you recognize that your opponents are still in midcourt, it's pretty wise to pull the trigger just because they're not going to have a good attack from midcourt regardless. So you might as well, right? Make it a more difficult shot for them.
Sure.
It's a tough slice from Irina. One of the best attributes is her return. She has kind of a heavy underspin ball on the return, which makes it difficult because it'll skid on the court, makes it more difficult to time, and kind of flies off differently from the paddle. There it is again. Same spot from Simone. You know, it's an extremely good shot. She's hitting it with top spin, so we call that a backhand roll. And she's putting it in the most difficult spot, which we call the chicken wing, and that kind of in between the forehand and the backhand.
Side out.
Side out here for Jardim and Kovalova.
Good third shot drive, fifth shot drop. Oh, an ATP, and they're still alive. So good.
Point.
I like what Lucy did with that overhead, which is she hit it deeper, which really makes it tough. You know, in tennis, we actually hit it shorter in the court so as to bounce the ball over our opponent's heads, but obviously the ball doesn't bounce that high. So the overheads that are tough to get back are going to be closer to your opponent's feet, so it's usually going to be deeper.
Tereshenko and Smith, while talking this over, they do not want Jardim and Kovalova to get hot here as we come to the end of game number 2. Time for Jigsaw Health to have their say. Come back to the Red Rock Open in a moment.
The last thing I want to think about when I'm playing is cramping, or if you're able to perform 100%. Last US Open, I was playing singles and I was feeling like my right calf was getting like really stiff. And I was just like, okay, how can I help my body to perform better? When I start taking Jigsaw products, I'm gonna have energy, I'm gonna have good endurance, and I don't have to worry about me being tired or I'm gonna cramp, so I can just play 100%. You only have one body, so you need to take care of it.
Welcome back to championship court here. Jardim and Kovalova trying to claw their way back in game 2. 5-7-1. Kovalova serving.
Great lead by Callie. That's a tough lead too. I really like Irina's neutralization of a good drop from Simone with the half volley. It helps to neutralize pace and spin. Keep it in the kitchen.
Ben, one thing I think so many of you guys have in common on the men's and women's side, so many great players have only been playing the game about 4 or 5 years. Can you imagine what this sport's going to look like when you guys have 10, 15 years experience under your belt?
Good reach in from Lucy. Absolutely, yeah, no, I'm going to be, I'm looking forward to watching that down the road because it'll be impressive.
7-7-2.
Point. Simone, just too good.
Really taking advantage of the momentum they have here. I think that's 4 points on this side out. And this game is, if nothing else, a game of momentum and swings. So see those good players taking advantage, using the energy and continuing their streaks. That's a good spot for Lucy. If she was one step further in, that would have been a great counter.
7-8-1.
A good example of drive and closing rather than the drive and the fifth shot drop. So you want to recognize when you hit a good drive from inside the baseline of the court, those are usually the ones you want to close on more than the deeper drives.
Callie Smith can bring some power too.
So good from Lucy there. And that's just, once again, the shift and then the two-handed backhand really makes for a tough counter.
Seeing a very emotional game here on both sides too.
Yeah, you know, it's up to each player how much emotion they want to invest, right? However you play your best. And once again, you can see there, like we talked about earlier, she's not putting that much pace on it. You can actually see she's swinging upwards for more top spin, makes it bounce, jump up, and that is what causes the miss hit by Irina and then the error. Good leave. So important. You know, all 4 of them have done that so well, leaving the out balls. One thing I'd expect to see, or would like to see from Callie and Irene a little more, is actually returning to Lucy. Simone has probably the better drop between the two, so maybe try to ice Lucy a little bit rather than giving Simone her one of her favorite shots, that third shot drop, especially into Irene's backhand, where she keeps going.
9-8-2.
Said it once, we'll say it again. Well, we said it more than once. It's important to let the ball go. Head high there, let it fly.
When you get into those firefights, I asked Dave Weinbach, what are you thinking?
Oh, where's the ball?
Just why that time? Because obviously you got to stay disciplined, right?
You do. You want to stay under control, not too frenetic. You're really trying to concentrate on keeping the paddle usually tight to your body, and I guess that's more instinct than anything else.
8-9-2.
And trying to read where that next ball is going to go.
Beautiful. Callie Smith runs it down.
It's great defense. You make your opponent play balls, sometimes you get errors. And what I love about those defensive points is not only are they entertaining, but they make for really big momentum swings, because it's just so important to be scrappy and show your opponent, hey, I'm still here. I'm still scrapping for everything. I'm going to keep trying the entire match.
Tied at 9. Could not have asked for more here in game 2.
There it is again. Every time it's these leaving the high balls, especially here where it's drier, a little bit of elevation, the ball's hard, they're going to sail. So they're so disciplined about adapting to the environment and letting the ball go more than other more humid, lower elevation environments.
That sound not quite the same here in St. George.
That's right.
Wow.
It's a heck of a point at 9-9.
Second serve. Your score is 9.
Second serve here.
9-9-2.
9-9-2. Each point more important than the last.
For it, as Simone's pulled the trigger there a couple times, but once again, right idea, not quite the execution she wanted.
10-9-2.
Match point.
Championship point here.
Yep. Oh, there it is.
There we have it. What a match.
Oh, they bend, but they don't break. Kovalova and Jardim. Just tremendous. And also Callie Smith, Irina Tereshenko, crowd loving the effort here in St. George. Ben Johns, great getting your take on it too. The thinking of a champion. These two certainly champions here.
Yeah, well, what a match. Congrats to all the ladies. Good stuff, and I'll see you out on court next.
All right, good stuff from Ben Johns. And you see the final point. Simone. A little bit of Lucy there mixed in, and Jardim has the final say. As Jardim and Kovalova take care of business. Tereshenko and Callie Smith making their mark here at the Red Rock Open. Pickleball at its very finest. When we come back, we talk to the champions, Jardim and Kovalova. What a run it has been. Hannah Johnson.
Hey, it's Alex Hamner with Vulcan Pickleball Paddles. I wanted to tell you about this V510 and how I just love some of the things it does for my game. It's a hybrid, so it's really good to help get power, like, you know, from the baseline or on your serve. You want to get it nice and deep. It's good for that. But as I make my way to the net, and sometimes you got to do that defense, the little blocks, because you're just trying to drop it in the kitchen, so you can get your way up to the non-volley zone. And then while you're here, I can hit nice little dinks and drops. I've noticed my control with this paddle is just so much better. You know, I can get a little closer to the line, I can place it where I want a little better, and yet the bonus, when you get that high ball, I still have plenty of power to put it away, and that's always fun.
I used to keep the mustard packages and pickle juice in my bag.
Just water. Because I don't drink enough water, and most of the water I drink, I just pour on me.
Do you ever have any problems cramping out on the court?
Sometimes, yeah, and when it's hot.
I'm a big-time cramper.
Occasionally I do, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because I play hard.
This right here, the cocktail, the pickleball cocktail, is what saves me in my tournaments. Has saved me before and it will continue to save me.
Welcome back to Championship Court. Here in the post-game, tremendous match. Kovalova Jardim challenged by Tereshenko and Smith, but eventually able to win another championship. Hannah John standing by with our champions.
I'm here with these wonderful ladies. What a match. How did you do that? How did you pull off that last match?
Well, first of all, I had good partners, so that's the key. So I think that's how.
Right. And Simone out there, we had a call where Irina might have gotten clipped by Kelly's ball. What was going on there?
I mean, you know, it's tough because in the heat of the moment, everybody thinks they're right because everybody wants to win. But of course, like at the moment, I thought for sure it changed direction. So I thought it hit her. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it happens every match. We are competitive and we all want to win. So, again, we just keep on going and whatever happens on the court stays on the court and then we move on.
And the PPA has recently launched a junior PPA Tour. What are the odds we see Landon or Alexis out there in the coming years?
I would say Landon, very likely. Alexis, not so much. But Landon has to turn 8, which he'll be turning 8 in November. So it's exciting. It's very exciting. So, and it's exciting to see all these kids. Like Lucy and I been taking photos and just hanging out with a bunch of kids coming up to us. It's really cool because now I really feel like we can make an impact on like youth. So that's awesome.
So many reasons why you ladies are the best in the game. What companies are behind you supporting both of you?
So it's Onyx, Jigsaw Health, and PPA Pickleball. So thank you. All my sponsors, and Simone has a ton of sponsors, so I will let her thanks now.
Simone?
So I got Prince Pickleball with my paddle, Jigsaw Health for a lot of products, but especially the probiotics for me. That's shout out to Patrick. And then also I just signed with Nike US Sports Camps, so I'm really excited and just looking forward to the future. Yep.
Congratulations on the gold, ladies. I'm going to bring Connor Pardo, commissioner of the PPA, on court now. One more thing from Lucy.
Yes, one more thing, and I would like to thank PPA, all the volunteers, all the referees. They were cleaning those courts. Yesterday the weather was bad, today the weather was bad, and they did unbelievable job to make this happen, and just a huge thank you to them.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Connor?
Hi guys, on behalf of the PPA, we'd like to present you here with these trophies. I'm juggling them right here. Here you go. This is starting to become regular, ladies. Congratulations on the 3 trophies so far this year. Congratulations, you guys. We're super proud of you, and thanks for coming out and playing on the PPA Tour. We're excited to see you next in Newport, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Connor. Back to you, Drew.
All right, Hannah, thank you so much. Kovalova and Jardim continue to up the ante. What a run they have gone on.